can take you with them on a bus or train, on a highway or on a plane, backstage or on a bike. It's Kevin Kline's Fuzzy Mike.
This Friday on the Outdoor Channel and Universal Music Group have joined forces, and they are giving you a concert series every Friday evening, 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and they are featuring up-and-coming country artists. Well, being that I make my living on country radio, I have an inside track to some of these artists, and one of them that is joining us right now is going to be on this Friday evening's installment, 6 o'clock on Outdoor Channel. It's Caylee Hammack. Hello.
Hello.
It's Kevin Kline. How are you?
Everything is good. We actually had a crazy storm last night in Nashville, and I just actually talked to Caylee Hammack. She lives across town, and anyways, we're all out of power. We've been out of power for about 16 hours now, but we have more power outages in Nashville right now from a storm yesterday than we've ever had in Nashville.
So what's the temperature? What's the temperature like there? Is it miserable without AC?
No, actually, it's really nice. It's about 70 degrees. We have all the windows open, so worried about the stuff in the fridge, but other than that, we are doing good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so excited to be speaking with you. You are on your upward trajectory of your career, and there's so much to talk to you about. But just in knowing what I know about you now and watching the videos and watching your conversations and previous interviews, you're just fun. You're just darn fun.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were going to say crazy, but, I would take that too.
Well, I mean, we all know that from your lyrics. I mean, Family Tree and Small Town Hypocrite, and you are a great storyteller. You are.
Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot to me.
Well, in the late Kenny Rogers, I remember when he was on American Idol and he told the contestants, he says, singing is just storytelling, and you're the actor with their actors with your voice. Is that something that you knew going into becoming a recording artist, that you're actually an actress or actor with your voice?
I think that you have to be. I do. I never actually heard him say that, and I really love that. That really tells a lot about him as well. I mean, Kenny was known to be a storyteller. Think about the songs like Gambler and Lucille. He took chances like Reba McEntire did to tell these stories that no one else really was able to tell. So I love hearing that. But, yeah, I've always I loved country music specifically because I loved how clever the lyrics were. I loved that there was a story in which you could immerse yourself. And if you painted it just right, if you told all the details just right, you could really have someone just fall into that song and be in that song and that feeling with you for 3 minutes at a time. That's what I really love about country music. But that's why I wanted to do it. And I feel like I go into this little autopilot place in my head when I'm on stage, and it's not autopilot. It's like I feel like I'm able to become almost a different person, the brighter, the lighter side of myself when I'm on stage. And when I get to go into like a deep song and really, really act it out, with my facial expressions, with my voice, I think that, it is our job to tell that story. There are amazing songwriters in town that some artists, they are just here to use their voice to bring a great story and message out there to the world. And I think as an artist, you kind of got to be a voice actor and an actor a little bit.
Well, when you get on stage, you're in your element. It's muscle memory. You don't have to think about it. You just know how to do it. You've been doing it for years.
Well, thank you. I love being on stage. I'm more comfortable there than in a crowd of people. But, I miss it. I miss it so flipping much. And it's really funny because I can say that. All of us say it. But it's really funny when I can tell in myself, Kevin, that the other day I just walked out into my living room and I just started singing part of the Anastasia soundtrack from the movie to my dog and like dancing around and pointing to her and acting like she was the audience. She just sat and looked at me, and I was like, I need you to applaud. I need you to get into it, sing along with me. I miss getting to put on a show. I miss the energy that you get back from people when you give all of yours on stage. People receive it and they give it back tenfold. And I miss that energy transfer that music seems to bring.
And that was one of the things in your Facebook Live that you actually talked about. You were like, this is new to me. I'm used to having people give me feedback, and I can only get that through the written word right now. How awkward was that for you to have to do that?
Oh gosh, I feel like I am the most awkward person in the entire world on live streams, but it actually is kind of cool because it's for the very first time I'm able to connect with people the exact same, like in the exact same place that I'm in. It's really cool that all of us are sitting in our living rooms all over America and all tuning in together. So it does add a cool element, and I've really loved kind of the casual air that I have on these live streams. I feel like I can mess up, I can goof around, I can play a song I only know half of the lyrics to if people request it. I just want people to interact with me and have that connection, and even though it is a little awkward to be singing your heart out to a little screen, as long as I know people are on the other side listening, I'm willing to learn how to do that,
But Caylee, your dog was there with you. St. Dolly candle was lit. I mean, you've got your personal audience right there.
I love that you watched this video. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, I surround myself with stuff I love, which are my little critters and my plants and mostly just musical instruments. But those are things I love, and as long as they're around me, I'm happy.
Let's talk about your plants for a second because they are so full of life and very vibrant. Do you have a green thumb?
Yes, I do. I love plants. I'm obsessed with plants, actually. It's the one thing that you should ask anyone on my team. I mean, I can't tell you how many plants I've tried to bring back in a suitcase before from different places I've been. But I love plants. It's the way that me and my mom connected when I was a kid. And my dad went to Sam's Club and bought me a potting shed, a little cheap plastic potting shed when I was 12 years old so that I could have a little potting shed beside the greenhouse he had built for my mom. And anyways, I just always grew up gardening with my family, and that is one really big plus of this quarantine time is that I'm getting to, do an herb garden again, a vegetable garden. I get to, really be with all the stuff that I've grown over the years inside my house. And it is nice to have some time at home. I miss the road, but I really love being around all my plants.
If you were touring right now, who would you trust with your plants?
I have one of my best friends. She lives a couple minutes away, and she has a whole map. I draw a map out for her because I have so many plants, and they all need specific things. I group them to which ones need water, what days. God bless her. I mean, I'm planning on buying her a beach house one day. Every single time I have to ask her to come water plants, I like to ask her a question like, okay, would you like white cabinets or maybe like natural wood cabinets in the kitchen? Do you want hardwood floors in your beach house one day or tile? I like to kind of joke around with that, but I owe my good friends a lot. They really do help me keep my house running while I'm gone.
Well, you have an opportunity to increase your bank account. New Female Artist of the Year nominee, Caylee Hammack. Music Event of the Year nominee, Fooled Around and Fell in Love. You are a part of that as well. I got to think when you win both of those, awards, that people are going to come knocking to start touring with you even more.
Oh Lord, I just want to get back on the road at this point. If I could just get on the road with anybody. Play anywhere. I could play to 10 people, and it would feel like a stadium to me right now.
Yeah.
It was very humbling and also kind of mind-shattering to get that nomination. There's a part of me that, feels like I should have been in it a couple more years before I feel like I deserve a nomination, but I'm so grateful, and I'm just happy to be included.
Yeah, but this isn't overnight for you. I mean, you've been at it, 14 years, and you really had to you had to pay some dues in Nashville.
Yeah, I've paid dues, but I mean they've paid me back too.
Sure.
I've learned a lot from working here for 2.5 years. I worked downtown as a front man in honky tonks, and doing 4-hour sets every night, playing whatever people will pay you for. You learn a lot of different music, and you get a lot of experience just playing different types of music. And it didn't matter what I played, my music, when I wrote it was country. And I think it's just because that's where my comfort zone is. That's where all the great storytellers that I grew up listening to, that's where they all came from. So that's why I'm here.
Well, on your live Facebook, you countrified Gloria Gaynor. I mean, you countrify everything.
I don't mean to, but yeah.
That's where you live, though. That's true to you. That's your heart.
Very true. Yeah, I seem to chicken fry everything I sing.
But let me ask you this, because you did Gloria Gaynor, "I Will Survive," and I know you're a fan of Cake. Did you hear Cake's rendition of that?
Oh, yeah. I've been working on just being able to play the bass riff of Cake's version of Bulls on Parade.
Uh-huh.
I love Cake. Yeah, Cake's version of "I Will Survive." I used to listen to that a bunch. I've always loved a bunch of different eclectic bands, and I really love when two different people that I love, like Gloria Gaynor and Cake, when Cake just decides to cover a song that I grew up singing from another artist. It's really cool when two people you love, decide to do each other's music or whatever.
Well, it's kind of like what the critics and the entertainment folks are saying about "Just Friends," your song. They say it starts out a little Dolly and then it goes into a little Weezer. So you've meshed.
Yeah, that's really what I wanted to do with that song, because there's there's many types of music that has influenced me and helped make me who I am, but two of the types of music that was really prevalent in my life was the old country that I kind of discovered when I was 12, 13 years old on an info commercial, all the golden classics, and I really started obsessing about them and really diving into country music around 12 and 13, and then around 15, 16, I started getting into 90s alternative music and really diving deep into Weezer and Nirvana and just a bunch of different great, iconic bands that bring forth their own elements and aspects in their music. And I really love people that are themselves. I don't know how else to say that. I really love when people are able to find their identity and they just say it how it is. And just friends. It's the same boy. I just randomly one day was writing about this boy. It was a bad breakup, and I told him at the beginning, I was like, we should have stayed just friends. I should have listened to my mama. My mama told me I shouldn't have dated you, that we needed to stay friends, and I did not listen. And anyways, I was prepping ideas for the next day. I was writing with two of my friends, Mikey Reeves and Aaron Ratier, and those two melodies, I came up with the "Has sworn off love long for I met you," and kind of less sad. I was thinking of Dolly Parton or Lynn Anderson kind of vibe, and then I thought, okay, this may be a little too slow. I don't know if they'll want to write this idea. So with the same idea, I started focusing more on the anger instead of the sadness from the breakup, and I started the "You should have never come over." Rum, bum, 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 bum. Like it was just two sides of the same situation, just different emotions that it brought forth. And it was really cool that day I brought both those ideas out. And I was like, God, I wish we could just write both. I wish we could just put them together. And to which Aaron just looked at me and he said, well, why not?
Yeah.
And sometimes the best moments in writing rooms is when everyone's just kind of messing around, trying new stuff, and sometimes you don't even mean to, but you hop outside the box, and that's when you find your good stuff, I think.
Talking about writing, you did a song on your Facebook Live, classic Tammy Wynette. Did it really only take them 15 minutes to write "Stand By Your Man"? That's
what Billy Sherrill says.
Really?
Yeah, So I sang "Stand By Your Man" at the Opry a couple months ago, and every time I go to the Grand Ole Opry, this sounds crazy, and I know that people will think I'm crazy, but I can't explain it in any other way than this. When you are on that stage and you're in that circle, when I sing my music, I feel fulfilled. But when I sing a song from Tammy or Patsy or someone that has passed on that is part of the reason why this room is so sacred, I swear, Kevin, that I can feel them. I mean, it is like I am wrapped up in something when I'm singing their songs. So I love every time that I go to the Grand Ole Opry, I play one of my songs so that people can hear my music. But I also like to play one older classic country artist that really raised me. And Yeah, I when I was doing Stand By Your Man, I wanted to dive a little deeper. I started researching it, and I think it's so funny that they put that song out not believing that it was going to be her iconic song. They thought Divorce would be her big song, so they wrote that song within 15 minutes, her and Billy, and just decided to put it out, and it turned into her iconic song. It is the song everyone thinks of. And I love hearing stories like that, when people just write something because they want to write it, and all of a sudden it becomes a song that pays their bills, that helps them raise their babies, and, lets the world hear them. Those are cool stories.
Talking about the Grand Ole Opry, you're not the first musician to say that you feel the presence of the artists that have come before you. But I know that it had to be a special, special thing for you to be singing Patsy Cline with your family in attendance.
Yeah, it was really special.
How did you get through that moment?
Honestly, I feel like when I'm on stage at the Opry, it goes by way too fast every single time. I mean, it by the time I get comfortable and I want to get into it is when I'm like, okay, I got to get off stage. You only do 2 songs at a time. But when I walked in with my mom and daddy into the artist entrance of the Grand Ole Opry, that was really, to me, that felt like my graduation. That felt like the moment of being able to walk my parents through the back doors and showing them, yeah, we belong back here. You can come back here and hang out. You can be comfortable here. And that, I can't even explain the feeling of that. It's like you don't even realize it. But as a musician, you want validation.
Sure.
And validation comes for me from people I love, people I idolize. The other day for my birthday, Miranda Lambert sent me a little video of her harmonizing and singing along to Small Town Hypocrite. Her and her husband were listening to it around their fire pit. And little things like that feel like validation because it's someone that I love, and it shows that they love what I do. And that's such an amazing feeling. But the Opry is the biggest interpretation of that. I mean, it really is. It's the one place that when I was able to walk my parents in and it had that kind of graduation feeling, it just felt like, okay, I can do this,
Caylee Hammack, what was the look on your parents' face when you brought them into the Grand Ole Opry and you're performing there? What was it like for them?
So they went out into the crowd when I got on stage that night. And, my mama, when she walked in, at first she was trying to find the post office box for George Strait. Backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, they have little boxes that all the different members, they have a postal office in the back, and they have P.O. boxes. So if people want to write letters to them, that they can. And anyways, my mama went back and forth trying to find George Strait so she could write him a love letter. But unfortunately, George Strait is not a member of the Opry right now. And anyways, so she didn't get to write a love letter to George Strait. That kind of disappointed her. But, it was really cool to see. My dad loved music. My dad used to play music as a kid, and he just wandered around backstage looking at all the pictures, taking pictures of everything himself. And it was really cool to just see their excitement. Like, I feel like my Grand Ole Opry debut was for them. It wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
The next time I played, that was for me. That was when all the stress and the pressure of the first time was off, and I could just get up there and be comfortable. But I feel like the first one was definitely more so for my team and my family than anyone else, because it just, I don't know. That place feels like a home to me. It feels special, but it's not in a special way that, like, it feels like it's an arm's length away. It is a place I feel so comfortable there for some reason. I never expected that, but I love playing at the Opry just because of it. It feels comfortable every time I walk in.
Well, 2 things about this. Number one, your family has been there from the beginning. I mean, a 6-year-old girl usually wants to go to Disney, but you ended up wanting to go to Nashville, and they up and pack the bags and drive you up to Nashville. So, I mean, they've been on this journey with you, so it's just as special to them as it is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, yeah. Maybe even more. I mean, my dad, the line in Small Town Hypocrite, hand-me-down dreams got me high on the rafters. My brother's bedside tables as a kid was amps that my dad used in a rock band when he was younger. And he kind of gave up his dream because he said, I'd have to get drunk to get on stage. I wasn't born with the confidence to get on stage. He said, I had awful stage fright. And he said, but also, he goes, I got a job, or I got an offer for being on the road with, he got an offer with Earl Scruggs. I can't say his last name. But anyways, he was going to be a roadie for them, and him and his sons were playing out on the road at that time. And anyways, he didn't take the job because he said, well, I just started dating your mama, and I knew I wanted to settle down. And, after that, I had a family, and I couldn't be a musician. I had to go get a job. And it's really cool that kind of those hand-me-down dreams, they got transmitted to me, but passed down to me. And now my dad gets to come and hang out on the tour bus, and come to shows. He'll fly out to shows and hang out with all of us backstage. And it's really cool to get to experience their excitement through it. It means more when it makes your family happy, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Now, did they feel immortalized because your lyrics are so personal and about growing up?
Oh, well, my mama hates it. She did not like Family Tree at all because she said, why did you tell people that I burnt chicken? She's like, I had never burnt chicken in my life. I fry it to perfection. Why does your line say, Mama's burning chicken for the Tupperware party tonight? And I went, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. I thought it would be a funny line instead of Mama's frying. Well, Mama's burning. I said, it's just another colorful word. And she goes, you didn't have to put that in there. She is very upset with me that I told people she burned chicken. But really, that's the only part that she's mad about.
Really? She's not concerned that we know that your uncle got busted and your grandma had to bail him out?
No. I mean, she's just mad that I said she burned chicken.
We're talking about just friends, and you said Mama told you not to get into a relationship. We also, in Small Town Hypocrite, find out that Daddy was pretty ticked off at you that you gave up a scholarship to chase a guy. Caylee, neither of those really worked out except for the songwriting aspect. So when are we going to start listening to Mom and Dad?
I know. Well, next record, there'll be no heartbreak because I'll listen to Mom and Daddy. It'll just be a happy record. But yeah, it's very funny. I love that through the past year being on the road singing Just Friends, I love that moms have connected with that song just as much as their daughters, because the moms just love that I said, should have listened to my mama. She's like, yep, I tell my daughter that all the time. And I love that the mama's like, it's their song now. They're like, yeah, you should listen to your mama. And I'm like, yeah, you should. They're always right.
Proof is right there.
Whether you want it or not.
We're talking to Caylee Hammack. You can see Caylee on Friday evening, Outdoor Channel. Describe this for us, because there wouldn't be a live audience, right?
No, there won't be a live audience, but there will be an audience. All of y'all tuning in will be listening in. I'll be live streaming from my house a couple songs for the Outdoor Channel, and it's going to be cool. So just tune in and have a good time with us.
If touring doesn't happen for a while or again, how are artists going to feel about performing the way that you're forced to now with the Facebook Live and with Outdoor Channel?
You know what? As long as I can pay my bills and I get to do what I love and I get to try and put good out in the world, I'm happy. I may not be as happy as I am when I'm on a big stage with a couple thousand people. Yeah, I may not be as happy as I am in moments like that when I really feel that connection and the joy that music brings me and others. But you know what? Any way that I can just keep communicating, I can just stay on people's minds and be able to bring music, I'm happy with it. I think it's a really crazy world for all of us, including musicians. And, the thing about this is it all puts us all in the same boat together. Mm-hmm. So we'll figure it out as we go.
You were talking about how comfortable you are on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry. We saw you here in Houston last year touring with Trisha Yearwood, and I know you have a friendship with Lauren Elena. To me, the two of you, I mean, everybody likes to be on stage, but some people just appear more comfortable and at home, and you and Lauren are definitely two of those individuals that you look like you're where you want to be, and it's really cool that we can get into the show with you just as much.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. Man, I know. I love seeing Lauren on stage, and I love being on stage with her. That's the cool thing about radio shows is sometimes, you get on a tour, and you'll get to know people for a couple months at a time, but every now and then you'll get a radio show where you'll get grouped in with a bunch of other artists that you haven't got to work with yet, and that's how Lauren and I have kind of just developed our friendship, is just meeting each other through radio shows, and it's been really cool. It's really cool to get to meet different artists, and especially when they're nice, when they're funny and nice. Wow. Goes a long way, and Lauren Elena is both of those things.
Well, I think Lauren Elena has given you a great idea, and I don't know if you've capitalized on this as much as you should, Caylee. You could call your next tour by this name, or you could do some merchandising. Caylee Hammack, IP in the pool.
Oh my God, that was so funny. So the story behind that, I put that little hint and teaser out on Instagram, and a lot of people were like, "What is this, Lauren? Lauren, tell us what you told Caylee, blah, blah, blah." And she never responded on it, and I was like, "That's smart, Lauren, that's smart. Don't tell people our story." But the backstory of it is I was flying to Cancun to play in Crash My Playa with Luke Bryan, and Lauren had played it the year before. And randomly, we saw each other in the Nashville airport that morning, and she was like, "Hey, are you headed to Charlotte, for the radio show?" And I was like, "No, I'm headed to Cancun." She was like, "I hate you." And I was like, "I know, I'd hate me too right now." But anyways, we started talking, and she said, "The one thing you got to do is when you're playing on the pool stage, because there is literally a stage inside of the pool itself, and everyone's in the pool, you just got to ask them, 'All right, who's peed in the pool?'" And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to." And she said, "I asked it last year, and everyone raised their hands except a few." And she goes, "I love to see those few that didn't raise their hands, and just like the look of disgust on their face as they look around and realize how many people have peed in the pool." Oh, man.
I would literally buy a merchandise shirt that says Caylee Hammack, IP in the pool.
The funniest thing is I said that, and then some dude waddles up to the front of the waiting area and hands me on stage a hat that says "I peed in the pool."
Oh, how
and so
funny!
I wore it on stage, and a couple people were taking pictures, and I was like, "Y'all, if you post it, you got to put a disclaimer that I did not pee in this pool at this time." I said, "I can't have people thinking I'm nasty."
No, but I think everybody gets the joke. Let's hope they do anyway, right?
Yeah, everyone's peed in the pool at least once, I guess.
Some more than others, probably. We were all young, right?
Yeah.
You do it until they say that it's going to turn purple, and then when the water's going to turn purple, then that's when you start that little habit right there.
Yeah, I see. I'm the type of person, I've never really peed in pools, to be completely honest, as a kid. I'm sure I have at some point. But I love going underwater and, swimming to the bottom and opening my eyes. So the thought of doing that in urine just really unsettles me, to be completely honest. And at one point I was like, I told the guys, I was like, "Yo, what if as soon as I end the pool party stage, the show, what if I just jump out into the pool with the people?" I was like, "How cool would that be?" And they're like, "Yeah, but how many people have peed in there?" And I was like, "I'm not doing that. Nope, not doing it." So I did not jump into the pool.
Doing something like that, though, would have been very 90s rock of you, Pearl Jam-ish.
I know! Oh, no! If I ever go back, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to jump in the urine. It'll be fine. It'll wash off.
Hey, Madonna pees in the shower because she said it's good for her skin.
Well, okay, I've actually heard about that it's supposedly if you pee in the shower.
I'm just saying.
Know. I actually remember hearing about this, but okay, let's just be completely honest. Who has not peed in the shower before?
Caylee Hammack, did you realize, or did you even think that when you woke up today, I'm going to be talking about urine and the benefits of peeing on oneself?
If you're Asian, I am too.
I got it.
Oh.
All right, let's change directions and get a little serious here, because you have written. I'm assuming that you wrote this, but I can't find it anywhere except for on a live performance. The song "Forged in the Fire." The live performance, is that the only place we can get that?
Well, actually, for now, yes. I have a video that I put out for the ACM our pre-party. It should be on YouTube, but Forged in the Fire was written about my I had a house burned down in 2017 when I was on a writing retreat. It burned in Nashville, Tennessee due to an election fluke of an accident. It happens, and I accepted that. But it taught me a lot about myself. And as a kid, my dad used to always say that the most beautiful and strongest things in the world are forged in the fire. And he said, iron is weak until you work it many, many times in a fire. Glass can't be blown without it. It's just really one of those sayings he always said to kind of keep my head up. And when all of this happened, it really hit tenfold, It really, the meaning behind it was really emphasized. And, I got through that house fire. God really seemed to protect the things that really mementos that it would have broke my heart to let go of. They were some of the only things left from people I loved that had passed on already. And it's like God knew exactly what I needed. And he did.
Can you sing the first two lines for us?
Yeah. So the first line is actually about my a blanket or a quilt that my ribbon. 10 years and 27 dresses, a calico kaleidoscope, scraps of her story sewn together. Grandma made that suit of armor, and I laid it on my bed. Just a quilt that no one noticed, but I did. The reason that line, that was all inspired, that was the one thing that when I was flying back, that's the one thing I kept thinking about. I was like, that quilt, it was on my bed. They said the fire happened in my room. And they said it started near the head of my bed around 7 or 8 a.m. that morning, and that it just took off. And in my head, I was like, I moved that quilt. I left. Where did I move that quilt? It wasn't on my bed, and the whole time I just was thinking about that quilt for some reason. And that and the guitar that my dad had given me. And anyways, I went upstairs into the rooms that had burned through and where I could walk still. And I was mad. And I just started kicking. People don't realize when a fire comes through, it leaves junk, like this melted, molten, ashy junk on the floors and the grounds. And anyway, so the thing is, with all that happening, I just started kicking it all around. And I was just mad. And all of a sudden, I saw underneath all the ash and the soot. And it's all I needed. I just started kicking more and pushing things around. And I found that quilt. A piece of sheetrock had fallen down on top of it, and the fire had burned over it. And I washed it 4 or 5 times, and it was just like new. And I'm telling you, I went through that house. There were a few things that made it. And 4 or 5 pieces that were from my grandparents and one of my good friends that had passed on, I knew that I was fine. Like,
wow.
It was like it's like I found the little bits that I knew I needed that I would have hated myself to lose. Like, I would have just blamed myself for losing if they had been burned up. And they made it. And I was like, okay, God, like, I get you. I understand that you have never given me something you can't get me out of. I understand that most of the curses or the things that feel like curses that you've put in my life have turned into my biggest blessings. And also get right now that I'm too tired to fight you on it. So, all right, let's do it. Like, literally, I just was like, God, just take it, and I'll do it.
Well, Caylee Hammack, you have this unique ability anyway to look at, I'm going to say, tragedy or disappointment and turn it into a positive. I'm specifically talking about "Appreciate You," that song that you have that it came about because of a nasty breakup.
Yeah, it was the first boy I ever dated that still and worked in the industry as well. So he was also the first boy I've ever dated that couldn't just pretend he died when we broke up, like, rest in peace, like, God bless him and his family. Hey, he's gone. No, I have to run into this boy. I have to be fine with it. Once I pour my heart out to someone, it's so hard for me to get it back. That's why I don't date very much. I'm a deep lover. I don't like the shallow stuff, so I don't go to the shallow end much. And anyways, I struggle after a breakup to be able to be okay around that person. And anyways, that song was all about, man, I got to figure out how to appreciate it. I got to figure out how to move on and see him in person and know that it's fine. I'm going to be okay. But Appreciate You really was just about that. I'm so sick and tired of the breakup songs that paint the guy to be a bad person and paint you to be weak. All of us are weak at certain times. All of us do bad by others without even meaning to sometimes. It's one of those things I hear so much in songs. And my thing was, I wanted to write a song about the situation, but I was like, I'm not going to make it sad for you. This song is not about pining for you. This is me trying to figure out, how do I move on? How do I learn the lessons that I need to through all this and become the person I need to be, so that when the real love that I deserve and I know is out there one day, when it finds me, I'm ready and I'm what I need to be for that person too. I really believe that every person you meet and that you love, they shape you and they form you into being the person that you need to be when the right person comes along. And it teaches you about yourself. My mom used to say, every hand you hold is a lesson or a blessing. And that's where that line came from.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I mean, I look at, I've been married now 25 years, but I look at things before my wife and I got together, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's why I went through that, because now I know how to deal with that if that situation ever comes up with my wife and I. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And even, some people, I've had young girls reach out on Instagram and stuff and be like, but I've only had bad love. And, I look at myself and I go, as far as love goes, as far as, a relationship goes, I haven't had very much love or luck with love. Like, no relationship has ended very well. I'm not friends with many of my exes. I get cheated on. Things happen. But what I try to reiterate is sometimes bad things happen to you, I feel like, in my personal opinion. Darkness has shown itself to me so that when I see light, I really savor it. I love it. I appreciate it. I know that this little spark of light, this little joy can get me through whatever I need to go through. And I try to explain that sometimes to young girls, because I love when fans reach out to me and talk about how a song, helped them through a breakup or helped them through a hard time. And I've even had people reach out about Forged in the Fire, that they lost their homes or businesses in fires. And it's so cool to see how you can write a song about someone that cheated on you or hurt you, and yet this pain that you're able to almost immortalize, by writing this 3-minute song, you're getting to help other people through hurt that they've went through, just showing them they're not alone. Trust me, it all happens to everybody. But for me, I feel like all of the bad love I've been given has made me much more grateful for when I have good friends, when I have people that really love and care for me and do small things for me. I think that I've been sent certain people in my life to deprive me of certain kind acts and things like that, so that when people do show up, when friends actually go out of their way to help me, it just means so much more. Like, it just makes me even more appreciative of it. And I think that anyone going through bad heartbreaks, just know, you're going to find your good love at some point. Just know that when it comes, you're going to be more grateful than anybody else in the world, because you've known the pain.
Recently turned 26. Where does your wisdom come from? You're way older than 26, the way that you think and the way that you experience things.
My dad says I was born 35, and I've aged progressively since.
Okay. No, I believe that. I mean, seriously, that's some deep thinking.
Well, I think the hip joints of an 80-year-old person from running. My brain's just catching up with my joints at this point.
Hey, since we're talking about experiences and we're talking about having heartbreak, talk to me about that, the line about Vacancy Light that the record rep told you that about women's songs.
Oh, man. Okay. So what happened was, this was at the very top of my publishing deal with Universal. And, oh, man, this was back in the day when I'd have a write that day. I'd wake up at 7 a.m., do all my hair, my makeup. I'd have a perfect little outfit on, because I felt that, it was a new job. I'd get to show up, and I was just so excited to know that I'm a signed writer now. I'm actually getting paid for what I do now. Like, people think I'm good at it enough that they offered me a job. I was just high on that feeling. So one day I had to go to the publishing house to write. I get there, all dressed up to impress my co-writer or whoever it is. And my publisher told me that they canceled. And I was like, man, I put pants on. Like, I put makeup on. I did my hair. Like, I'm not going to get anything out of today. And so finally I just went up and I started writing by myself. And, well, a couple months before that, before I got my publishing deal, I had been told by, technically, he does do a little stuff with the radio, but he's more so a writer that also an older, more acclaimed writer that he like helps younger writers. Also had a book, you know. He made his living now by teaching others to write and do what he did. So I played him a couple songs a couple months before I got the publishing deal, and he told me, "Well, these are good. Like they're well written, but the thing is, women never want to be seen as desperate. Women don't want a song that makes them seem desperate. You need a song that makes a woman that is mad at her husband, mad at her life, in rush hour at 7 a.m., that it makes them feel better. They don't want a song at that time that makes them feel bad or makes them feel low." And I remember hearing that and understanding where he was coming from, but also feeling like I was punched in the gut, because one thing that I loved about music is I grew up on the breakdown years of country music, you know. I grew up on the Almost Home, the Craig Morgan song about the homeless man that almost froze to death. I grew up on the country music that made you just want to weep for the narrator. You know, I love the songs that talk about the vulnerability of life, the desperation, that love when you lose it, what it brings on anyone with a heart. And I just remember for a while I was all in my head, and every time I'd come up with an idea, I would exit out because I'd think, no, it's too vulnerable, and it's desperate, you know. Also, he told me that I couldn't cuss in any of my songs either. Cussing, like, never get on the radio. So, and you know, Kevin, I don't ever mean to. I don't mean to go out of my way to spite someone or spite what others have said. But I think that day, vacancy, like, kind of just came out. I literally just tried to turn on my lamp. Wow, my power's still out. Sorry. But the reason that day that I just wrote it was I realized with no one else in the room, they can't make me not cuss, and they can't make me write a positive song about a heartbreak. I don't have to be positive every time. For me, the songs that got me through the bad times were the sad songs, because I knew I wasn't alone. Even though I felt lonely and heartbroken, I wasn't the only person that felt that way. And that's why I loved writing those kind of deep gut-pulling songs. You know, I love those songs. And Vacancy Light was really me just going, let me tell you how desperate a person can get, how lonely you can get.
That's real, though, Caylee. That's people cuss, and people experience heartache, and people go through desperation. I mean, there is no utopia. So if you're going to be a true storyteller, and I'm surprised that this person said this to you, if you're going to be a true storyteller, you got to tell all aspects of life.
Yep. I think that, you know, when I brought these songs to him, I think what it was, he wanted me to focus on the radio side, you know, where songwriters make money is really only if you get a radio single. A song on an album, a cut on an album doesn't really make you anything at all,
okay,
as sad as it is. But I think, you know, looking back, because he was a great writer and was a good friend of mine, you know, years later. But it's one of those things. I think he was just trying to get me to write towards radio. And for me personally, writing towards anything other than trying to just write towards the best song, it's never worked for me.
Well, isn't it the old adage that if you're looking for something, it's not going to come, but if you're not looking for it, that's when it's going to happen?
Yep, very true.
So, I mean, you and I are on the same page on that one. Definitely so.
Yeah, I kind of want us to hang out at some point. I'm like, we could talk forever.
Okay, now I'm glad you brought that up because Ingrid Andress and I, when she comes to town, she and I are going to sit back with some Codigo tequila and listen to some heavy metal, death metal music because that's what she jams out to. I want to know what your drink of choice is because it was wine the other day, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. I've been drinking a lot of wine because that's what I got at the house.
Do you have a particular favorite?
Yeah, I do. Now I love a red wine. Really, any red wine will do for me. A good Cab is really my favorite. But now Ingrid loves her tequila. I'm a whiskey girl too. Usually, I make this drink now. I call it the Clean Ginger or the Clean Ginge. All it is Crown Royal, ginger ale, and a splash of pineapple orange juice in it. I like a splash of something sweet. But, I love ginger ale with liquor. Vodka, I call that, now that's a John Prine. He used to drink ginger ale and vodka, and I remember the first time I had one of those, I was with the Brothers Osborne. We were hanging out somewhere, And their sister, Natalie Osborne, works in the industry as well. And she came up and said, "What are you drinking?" And I said, "Vodka ginger ale." She goes, "Oh, so you and John Prine have the same favorite drink." And that's when I started calling it the John Prine. And now that he's passed away, I'm like, that has to be the John Prine.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely so. And somebody else who recently passed away that had a very profound impact on your career, COVID-19 took Joe Diffie from us. I remember your tweet from that day.
Yeah, that wrecked me. That was a really hard day.
Yeah.
That man was really good to me when he never had to be.
I'm going to get some whiskey or some vodka, bring some ginger ale, and then you and I are going to we're going to crank up Mr. Mastodon Farm from Cake. How's that sound? From Motorcade Generosity.
I am so down with that.
Yeah, I thought you would be.
So down. Let's do a little Cake, but also a little Bowie, too. Do you like Waits any?
Tom Waits? Absolutely.
Oh, my God. Okay, yeah. I can go Rain Dog any day, anytime. Let's go. I can do any of his records.
Okay.
You really got a lot. I think we're going to have a lot of music we can listen to.
I think so. Yeah, most definitely. Facebook Live performance the other day. Your guitarist, I guess it was going to... how many beers did he end up shooting because you played Smash Mouth?
Two. Randomly, he'll tune in to some of my Instagram lives. I do a Honky Tonk Tuesday. I do the CMTs on their Facebook, and I do Next Women of Country. I bring in a bunch of different amazing women from the industry and a couple men that are allies, and I make them sing female songs. But anyways, Cole just sang Breakdown Here, actually. That's what was on my mind. But anyways, so I've been doing that, and it's been so much fun. But what I realized was I kind of missed just goofing off and playing songs with people. And that's why I started Honky Tonk Tuesday on my live streams. Every Tuesday on Instagram, I'll go on and just take requests. And if I can't play it then, if, it's a little bit more difficult, I'll go, hey, I'm writing it down. I'll come back to it. And during that live stream, my guitarist Lance will come in. And 1 week he asked for that. The other day he asked if I knew any Chumbawamba.
Okay. I get knocked down.
I was like, I get knocked down,
Yeah.
but I get up again. He was like, I may request some Chumbawamba in the next few weeks. I don't know. This is the first time he's given me a heads up, so I need to dive into their music a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he just throws me random ones, and it just reminds me of being back at Tootsie's. Like, I used to have my phone on a little stand, on the microphone stand, connected to it, and I'd be playing my own music, and singing covers I knew really well. And then, someone would come up and they'd be like, hey, here's $20. Chandelier by Sia? And I was like, kind of. And I look up the guitar tabs and play it. And that was really my favorite part of playing downtown, because people would be like, okay, here's $20, play me your favorite song. So I'd play Creep by Radiohead.
Oh.
And then they'd be like, play another song you love. And it'd be like, in the white room with black curtains near the station. Like, we could go wild with music. I could do all the old country you could imagine, or I could just jump into rock and roll, because the bands love that kind of music too. And it was a really fun working downtown. It was hard, but there are some beautiful, beautiful moments and all of that I'm very grateful that I got to go and work down there.
There's something to be said about that, because when I first broke into radio, which was 30 years ago, I was working 90 hours a week for free. And I look back at that and I'm like, that was such a pure time. You were just doing it for the love. You weren't doing it for a paycheck. You weren't doing it to put a roof over your head. And there's sometimes that I kind of miss that about radio,
I so get you. And it's so funny that you say pure. Because I think even other people, that's the word that really sticks out to me. Someone asked me the other day, they're like, what's the purest happy you've ever had? Like, what was the purest moment of contentment that you've ever had? And I was like, it was at the lowest of my life. I was sleeping in my car in the Target parking lot. But I remember that morning I woke up and it was all snow on the parking lot. And I'm from South Georgia. I'd never seen snow like that. And I just remember it was like 4 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. And when I woke up to turn my car back on because it was cold, I saw the snow. And I remember just getting out and dancing in it. And it's so funny that I haven't thought about that moment in forever, but when someone asked what is the purest joy, like it wasn't connected to anything else. I was just happy. Was that moment, was working downtown, like sometimes I'd do a 4-hour shift, get off stage, the other singer didn't show up, so now I'm doing 8 hours of singing today. And, I mean, some days were miserable. And I remember actually a friend of mine just moved back, is going to be my roommate. And but we were roommates back in those days, back when we were living in this basement apartment with one bedroom. We had to share the bed. Like, I mean, we were low. Like, we didn't have anything. We could barely pay our bills, but we both were working downtown. And it's like, even though we were making nothing, we were really doing nothing. We had no other friends really at the time. We were desperate trying to make friends and know more people. But I still look back at that little basement apartment that me and her were in, and we were working our tails off and buying plants that would all die because we didn't have enough windows in the place. Just those little pictures, like, they make me happy because it was this pure happiness and, like, a moment of life where you wouldn't think of that as a golden era, but I'm happy you said that. You always look back and find one of those moments like that, and you're like, that was the good times. That was really the good times, too.
Yeah, well, they forge you, and they make you appreciate the times where you're experiencing things that you are right now, including the ACM nominations and a top 30 single and a tour with Trisha Yearwood. And have you gone out with Reba yet?
No, unfortunately. I had just got back from London. I had to cancel a week of shows in London. I was in London when the president put the travel ban on everywhere except the United Kingdom. But because of the fear of the United Kingdom being added, all of the artists that were over there for C2C, we all flew back the next morning. And it was really sad. I hate that I had to cancel shows, but we got back to Nashville thinking that we were good. I'd have 2 weeks to quarantine if I needed to before the Reba tour started. And, man, we landed, we got home, slept, woke up the next morning. I get the text that all of the Reba shows have been rescheduled to fall. And anyways, now the Luke tour has also been rescheduled, and I don't know really what will happen with that. I really don't know how this year will happen, but I have faith in God that he's going to lead me where I need to be. And even though my heart breaks at the thought that I could have been on the road as direct support for Reba McEntire for this month and last month and the months before, I know that it all works out the way it should, and I just have to have faith. And I'm just praying God lets me have that opportunity with her again, because she is amazing. She is such a flippin' pro.
She's one of the first names you mentioned in this conversation.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. I mean, it's unreal when you get to watch her work and the way she works and the way she focuses in on things, what she sees, how she makes people feel around her. She's got this magnetic aura that just kind of swirls around her at all times. And then again, she also is so kind and considerate and humbled and down to earth. It's such a weird mixture of a human being. It's like all the good traits somehow got pushed into this one little bitty body, But, I mean, it breaks my heart to think about not being on the road with her, but I'm just praying that I get another opportunity.
But the one thing about Reba that nobody has seen, and I'm sure it's there because she's a redhead, she's got to have some sort of hidden fiery temper. She's got to.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Because, I mean, I know you do, because you, in your Facebook Live the other day, you said, I'd just like to sit back, get drunk, and rave.
It is very funny about, I wonder how my show will change. During the Trisha shows, I talked a lot more, told a lot more stories and stuff than I do say right before Dirks comes on stage when everyone's standing up. It always depends. If you're in a place that people are sitting down, I usually tell more stories, and I'm a little bit more laid back with my approach. If people are standing up, you hit them while it's hot. You keep the show going. You don't talk much. Keep the songs pumping right after the next. And anyways, I'm wondering how my show will transform, because now most of what I do is talking. I mean, most of the Instagram lives and stuff, I play a couple songs and then I talk to people because they're writing comments and wanting to ask questions or put requests in. And it's been cool to see, to have to figure out the change and see how it's kind of changed just my career and how I connect with people. But it is, I don't know, there's good and bad sides of it, I think. The only bad side for me is sometimes my internet acts wonky, and then it makes it hard to connect. But other than that, I'm just grateful that I have a way to do it. You know, think about 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do a live broadcast from your house onto different multiple social media platforms. I mean, it's unreal what we can do these days, and I'm just grateful we can do it.
Absolutely. And hey, listen, your fans are grateful that you can do it, and we're grateful that you enjoy doing it. You are absolutely a breath of fresh air, and Caylee Hammack, I hope that the world is yours. You deserve it.
Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate that.
Well, you're a lot of fun. Like I mentioned earlier, I knew this was going to be a great conversation. And just my little creepy comment, okay?
You get one allotted creepy comment. What'd you say?
I said you have the prettiest hair in Nashville.
Thank you. I worked real hard at it, so that means more to me than anything else.
Oh, means more to you than anything, huh? Well, hold on. Let me see if I can say something that's hopefully even more meaningful. Thank you for all of the work you do with St. Jude's. My wife and I have a pediatric cancer nonprofit that we started here in Houston, and anytime that I can see somebody that's in the same fight that we are, thank you so much for doing that.
Man, I'm happy to do it. When I was 16, I had a medical scare. It was a 2-pound tumor in my paraspinal muscles and caused nerve failure from my hips down, and really scared us. They thought that it was stage 2 until they took it out. And that month in between having to get healthy enough to be able to have the surgery because my immune system was faltering, that little time there where I got a taste of what could come next, what could be happening, you know, that was all I needed to be able to empathize with these children that actually are having to go through the entire fight. They're having to fight the hardest fight of their lives, and some of them aren't even old enough to talk, you know? Yeah. It breaks my heart, but I love going to St. Jude just because it's every time I walk in there, man, everyone's smiling.
Exactly.
Even the doctor walks past, the nurse, the cleaning staff, anybody you see, whoever it is, whatever they do in that building, they smile when they look at you.
Yeah.
The kids are happy, you know, and when you're able to see that, I think that the medicine is just as important, but also keeping these children's spirits up is just as vitally important, I think. And, you know, having a positive situation like that is amazing for them. And us being able to come in and I get to dress up like Ariel and come sing Part of Your World. Yeah, I'm in.
There you
Let's
go.
go.
I love it.
Oh, man, I did that in Baby Shark last time we were there.
Did you?
My guitarist had to wear a lobster outfit. He was burning up. But anyways, I'm just very grateful that you and your wife have a nonprofit that y'all are doing towards that as well. That's amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much. Hopefully the tour will happen later on this year, and you and I will get to share some vodka, some ginger ale, cake, and whoever else you want.
Yes, all of them.
Excellent. Hey, much success to you at the ACMs. We'll be watching Keith Urban hand you a statue or two, right?
Oh man, well, I'm just ready to be able to walk the carpet. That'll be a big feat for me.
There you go. Well, much success to you. Caylee Hammack, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to watch it on Friday evening, 6 o'clock on Outdoor Channel. You're going to be playing live for us, and we can't wait.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Kevin.
You're welcome. Take care.
All righty. You too.
Caylee Hammack on the Fuzzy Mic. My thanks to Caylee for joining us. My thanks also to Thomas Caraccioli with Outdoor Sportsman Group. Also to Chris Fabiani and Maris Sid Weber with Universal Music Group. Voice guy?
That's it for the Fuzzy Mic. Thank you. The Fuzzy Mic with Kevin Kline. Executive producer Trish Kline. Social media director Lisa Titan. Mouth noises by Zach Sheesh at the Radio Farm. Get your Fuzz fix online anytime at thefuzzymic.com. Everywhere with the iHeartRadio app and in this pocket. Wow, that is a lot of fuzz. Thanks for listening to the Fuzzy Mic.